Hi, this is Scott, Kilo Sierra 6 Delta Alpha Yankee, and for today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Tigrett Outdoors SMC Comm cable. Communications cable is the best way I could come up with to describe this. I forget the exact terminology they use, but SMC stands for Shoot, Move, Communicate. And the best way I can describe this product is this is essentially a speaker mic, but it does not carry out the speaker function. It allows you instead to tie in with an accessory cable into either something like a set of active hearing protection that has a 3.5 millimeter accessory port on the headset, or to tie it into something like a covert audio ear tube earpiece. So the actual audio portion is carried out by whatever you choose to plug this into, but this provides you a means and mechanism to make that connection, but also incorporates a microphone into the unit so that you can attach this either to your clothing or your carrier and speak into it just in the same way you would with a speaker mic. It's an interesting idea, and it's one that I've seen applied in other ways for years now. Pretty much every Baofeng is supplied with a little earpiece that has a microphone and a push-to-talk button on it. The problem is the earpiece is, well, it kind of sucks, and the whole unit just kind of sucks, but it's sort of a, secret agent man kind of kit. This is an upgraded version of this, and I've also seen other units like this in the past that were designed specifically for the law enforcement community, for people on things like executive protection or high value target protection, so that you could have a comm system on you that's fairly low profile. Now, if you are on Facebook at all, like myself, and you look at radio content or engage in that community, you've no doubt been hit with the advertising pitch for this. I get it pretty much every time I open up Facebook. Something from Tigrett Outdoors pops up as basically an ad where they're talking about these. And for a while, I'm going to be honest with you, I dismissed it completely, because I figured, well, you know what, I've got my speaker mic, and I can pipe this thing into a set of Active Ear Pro, or I can use my covert audio ear tube piece and do just fine. And should I not need that, I can unplug it and I still have a speaker on my speaker mic that I can use. So it's a scalable system. And that's a simplistic approach if you're looking at this from the perspective that you're going to be openly carrying this radio. But if you need to do some low profile stuff, that speaker mic gets a little bit bulky, and that's what finally turned my head in this direction. Because you see, the way they market this, and I would suggest to them they might want to add some additional marketing efforts that aren't necessarily crafted towards people in the tactical radio side of things, because this is marketed almost exclusively showing these on plate carriers and showing this thing being locked into something like a set of Walker razors, and they market it as a tactical communications platform. And for some folks that have other systems, for instance, I'll pull one out here. If I need to do that, if I need to go plate carrier time with the radio, and I want a headset, and I want to do some interesting stuff with that, I'm going to go with something like this, because this is what I already have, so I really wouldn't be prompted to go in this direction. I also might even consider that, since they're not that far off from each other in terms of pricing, the tactical headset kits for the Walker razors and the Howard lights that come with a PTT assembly and have a boom mic already built into them, they're not that much more expensive, only about $10 or so over the cost of one of these. So you're kind of fighting an uphill battle from that marketing perspective. However, if I were doing something that was fairly low profile, and I wanted to have good comms, and I wanted to have an earpiece in and be able to, in the most low profile manner possible, be able to transmit and receive, something like this is actually pretty attractive. So while they may not have considered this, that whole secret agent man starter kit is actually kind of a more appropriate usage for this system than the marketing efforts they currently do. Now they do a pretty good job of it. I know a lot of people that actually use these, and they do tie them into Active Ear Pro, and they do pretty good with them. So I'm not going to fault them for that. It's still usable in that perspective. It's just if you're a person that already has that kind of gear, you might want to give them another reason to actually purchase. And I should also tell you at this point that I'm not doing this on behalf of Tigrett Outdoors. I bought one of these sets for Kenwood, for my Kenwood K-plug radios. I also have another set that's still in transit from Amazon for my my Yaesu FT65 and FT4X. It uses a Motorola M1 plug. These are bought with some of my my Amazon Christmas card gift money, or Christmas gift card money. So this is a purchase out of my own pocket. This was not sent to me by Tigrett Outdoors, and I'm not doing this review at their behest. So you're getting a completely objective viewpoint here. I like the products, so I'm just trying to give them some ideas to kind of expand their workspace there a little bit. But for me, where this thing really makes a heck of a lot of sense, again, is not with this little patch cord. And by the way, this is what you receive. You receive the actual comm cable itself, and then you receive this this patch cord with 3.5 millimeter plugs on each end to work with your Active Ear Pro. But the system that I plan to use this exclusively in is going to be this right here. So if I need to set up and use maybe one of my little snub-nose radios that I'm carrying in a pouch on my belt under a cover garment, along with some other goodies, or in this case, since it's a K-plug, it's going to be something like this little TDH3 that I would have on my belt, I can route all of this through my clothing. I can clip this on the inside of a cover garment, and then I can also set up the audio ear tube piece. So the only thing you're going to see is the ear tube coming out of my left ear. Now I will tell you, if I wanted to go even more low profile, you could also just simply plug a simple set of earbuds, just like you would go down and buy at any gas station, a set of earbuds that have a 3.5 millimeter plug, like the Skull Candy earbuds. I would reach across the room here. Actually, hang on, I'm going to reach across my camera, and I'll pull this out. You could even go with something like this. So if you're walking around, now it's only going to be mono, you're not going to get stereo, but if you're walking around with a set of earbuds on, people are just going to think you're listening to music, especially if they have a nice bright color to them. You can run the same setup, and it works just fine through this because it has that same 3.5 millimeter plug. Again, it's mono, so you're only going to get the one ear. But you can look pretty darn low profile and have your radio gear there. And then, like I said, this can be on the inside of a cover garment, and you can press to talk when you need to, and maintain pretty low profile. So it's a good system for that. I really like that aspect, and I want to really kind of lean heavily on that, because again, if I was going to recommend something for something a little bit more tactical, I'm going to probably suggest you pick something a little bigger. And again, I'll point out and drag some more cables across here, make a bunch of noise and make a bunch of mess, but here we go. These tactical headset kits with their big PTT sets and a nice large easy to hit button, everything on it's a bit more durable. It's a bit more made for the outdoors. If you buy correctly, you can also get them with some form of rated weather protection on them. This unit does not come with rated weather protection, so it is not water resistant. It is it's built well. It's a tough little unit, but you could get it wet and you could get it to shut down unless you had it covered up. So like I say, I'm not my recommendation is not so much from the perspective of a tactical thing, but more of a low profile comms thing, and this would be a nifty little thing for that. The price is pretty good. I think I paid $35.99 for all of the units. They had a little bit of a sale going, but it doesn't look like they ever get above $39.95. You know, a little pricey for what you get, but it is what it is. So not a whole lot of people making these. So let's take a little bit of closer look here, and I'll talk about some other options. So for securing the unit, there are two options. There is one that has the clip mounted and pinned in place. That's what I went for. There's another one that has Velcro on the back of the unit, and then it has Velcro on the clip. And the idea being that if you don't need the clip, but you have some available Velcro on your carrier, you can Velcro directly to that, or you can set the clip and then Velcro onto that. For myself, this is a better option because if I'm going to be using this with clothing, I'm probably not going to have convenient Velcro placed anywhere, and I want this thing to stay in place and not move around on me. Now, moving to the other side, there's really not much to see here. You've got your microphone is right there. The PTT is fairly small, to be honest with you. It's got a good solid release on it, but it is, as I said, a bit on the small side. So this is another reason why, from a tactical perspective, this may not be the most appropriate unit if you're wearing something like gloves. So if you've got, you know, some of those mechanics gloves on, or whatever you like to wear to protect your hands out in the field, a glove is gonna, well, you got to be pretty accurate and exact with this. So it might be an easy thing to hit, or rather might not be an easy thing to hit with a gloved finger. So I sort of have that concern. But again, if I'm doing some low profile stuff, usually no gloves involved. Now, moving to the downside here, we've got the 3.5 millimeter accessory plug. It is down on the bottom, so if you do have a rain situation, you're not going to have rain, pool, or puddle there, so long as this is facing downward. And the rest of it is pretty easy to figure out. You've got your cord that goes down to the appropriate connection for your radio. They have a number of different radios that they offer this for. They offer it for the standard Kenwood K1 plug, which is associated with things like Baofangs, a lot of the inexpensive Chinese radios, but also Kenwood radios, and even some radios that are kind of a, you know, bit more upscale still use that connection. They also have the M1 plug, which looks similar to the K1 plug, but that's going to apply to Motorola radios with the M1 plug set. But there are a couple of other radios that apply to. They have other units that they have the unthreaded single pin for the Yaesu, like the FT60, the FT70, the FT3, and FT5 DRs. They have the threaded connection for the Yaesu VX6. That's a good one right there, because the Yaesu VX6 is another thing I like to put a little stubby antenna on, and uses a low profile radio because it's overall a fairly small radio. So I've got a little package for that. That'll be the next one that I order. They also have one for the Baofeng UV9 series that has the contact strip on the side instead of the actual plugs. And there are not a lot of connectors made for that particular type of radio. I find that there's a little bit of a difference. I found, for instance, speaker mics that work with Retevis but don't work with Baofeng because they you have a number of contacts on that contact strip, but they don't always use the same ones for their wiring scheme. So that one will work if you have like a UV9 Golf, or, you know, one of the other UV9 radios. You can use it for that. So they have a decent selection. They, again, seems to be very well made. I'm certain they're imported, but again, it's a nice well-made little unit. The actual functionality of the unit, really all we're talking about here is it's going to pass the data through this connection, so that's not going to determine the quality of the audio. Whatever you have plugged into it is going to determine that through the ear core, or the audio ear tube set. It sounds as good as any other speaker mic that I have it plugged into, so I have no issues there. Sounds just fine through the walkers as well. The only thing that you would really have to test on this in terms of performance is passing audio through the actual microphone, and it does just fine. It has a decent microphone in it, so no issues there. You can have this several inches away from your face down on your carrier, and it picks up the audio just as well as any other speaker mic out there. In fact, it may do so a little bit better because the microphone hole is a little higher than it is on, let me grab a speaker mic, than it is on some speaker mics, although this one is a good one. It's up at the top, but there's some other ones that have them embedded within the actual grill itself. But everything works fine there. So I give this thing, you know, a couple thumbs up. I fully endorse. It's a good little unit. So if you're looking for something a little extra, maybe something to throw into your kit for low profile occasions, this is interesting, so I recommend you take a look. So with that, I'll bring it to a close. Thank you for watching and or listening. This is Scott, Kilo Sierra 6, Delta Alpha Yankee from Visalia, California. Have a wonderful day.